It was February 2020, and I was sent by the State Department to Colombia to help farmers transition from growing cocaine to other crops. And it was 110 degrees outside. I was working with my 8th farming cooperative, and there were 40 middle-aged Colombian men looking at me very unimpressed. And amidst their group was their cooperative leader, who turned out to be a mid-level cartel boss. And every time I tried to engage and start the conversation, he would, and I kid you not, start turning on his drone. And he would get the propellers going. It would be really loud in the room. He would have it fly up. And what I found out was that he had been convincing the farmers for years that they would become rich by using drones through their farming. He never explained how, but he had the technology and showed it to them every time, and they kept producing coca, which is what his main goal was. So, third time he started the drone up, and his attempt in the first 10 minutes to cut me off and make me lose credibility and distract the farmers, I looked at him and I said, no, a firm, flat no. And I made direct eye contact with him. And at this point, my stomach was clenching. And I was sweating, and to a certain extent, I was feeling a twist in my gut because I was scared out of my mind. I did not want to be dealing with a cartel boss, and I didn't know what the consequences of doing that were, but I had to manage my fear. And I did so by taking a deep breath and rooting myself back in my goal, which was to help these farmers. And I could help them. I just had to remove him as a distraction first. And so after I said that no, which shocked him and everybody else in the room, I told him that we had norms we had pre-established about how we were going to work together. And if he didn't want to follow those, he could leave. And that's what he ended up doing. He did leave. And there was a palpable sigh of relief amongst everybody in that room when he did. Everyone immediately relaxed and started opening up, sharing, conversing, engaging with my process, and ultimately coming up with a 1-year transition business plan to grow oranges, which is actually still successful today. So what did I have to do there? Well, I had to tell him no. I had to tell him firm and flat that his behavior was not going to fly. And I also had to conquer my own fear and emotion and know my goal, which is what we talked about in week 1, to make sure that I was progressing and not giving up and freezing in that moment. Now, this is a lot of skill, and it's not because I was born with it. It's not innate within me. It's because I've spent decades practicing in small ways, because I was frozen for a second in that moment, but my muscle memory kicked in. And that's how all of this works. We're on the 7th week and we've been practicing exercises so far, and that's what I'm trying to help you do, because over time it'll become innate, but it doesn't start that way. So today's exercise is picking a relationship that can withstand some pressure and telling them a firm, flat no the next time they ask something. Do you want to go for a coffee? No. Don't explain. Don't equivocate. Of course, you can go back later and tell them what you were doing, but when you say a firm, flat no, it makes saying a polite no, maybe with a little bit of an explanation, a lot easier. So for those of us who have a hard time with it, and most of us do, try that out. And then I want to hear about it, and I'll see you Wednesday. It's May 13th, and yesterday was a big day. It was the official launch of Never Settle, and I had a big party to celebrate here in Traverse City with my community, and it was amazing. I just can't believe that it's finally here and out in the world. I'm very proud and, to be honest, very relieved that it's here. And so I want to thank you all for also sticking with me as I've gone through this journey with you on getting a book out there. And today we have our final skill that I want to talk to you about, which is building alternatives. Because we never know which way something is going to go. Even with this book, it's been 7 years in the process. And there were a lot of alternatives we had to explore when we ran into walls with the book on finding people to help us, finding our agent, finding our publisher, picking a different path, choosing alternative content and having alternatives and having a different path or something in our back pocket that we can rely on really helps build our resilience in a negotiation, and they can smell it on us when they know that we aren't desperate for a deal. And I never want you to be desperate for a deal. The best way to combat that is by having an alternative. And here's one really important point. Walking away can be an alternative. We have to remind ourselves that we can always look for another deal tomorrow, even if it feels like, oh, but I have this one right here. Shouldn't I just take it? And negotiation is not about making a deal. It's about making a good deal. One that is better than anything that you can find in the next month, 6 months, year. Because once you've got the momentum going, it's a lot easier to keep generating options and finding more deals. So remember that. But it's also helpful upfront if you can build an alternative. And that feels really overwhelming. How am I going to find an alternative? How am I going to find another job offer? How am I going to find another house that I want to buy? And you start small, the smallest piece of it, because it does feel overwhelming. What's one thing I can do? The smallest piece that I can do to get this process started. Maybe it's just doing a quick search on LinkedIn or scanning Zillow. And usually when we take the first step, it's a lot easier to take the next steps of maybe I'll just click into this job and see if it's a good fit. Or maybe I'll check my network to see if anyone has connections in these industries. And then it's I could just reach out to this person and see if they might be willing to have a coffee. And after that, it becomes maybe they're willing to make an intro for me. But we have to start somewhere. And usually starting at the smallest step is the easiest, because otherwise it's like becoming a negotiator. It feels way too big and overwhelming. So we even have to break down the idea of alternatives into the first small step that we can take. So I want you to think about something that you have coming up. And maybe you need to make a decision on anything, right? You're making a decision on where to go to dinner tonight. You're making a decision on what your kid is going to play. And start thinking about alternatives, things that you might want to do instead, right? And this is where alternatives are different from options, because options we talk about on the table, things we can do within the current deal. Alternatives are what do we walk away from too, right? So instead of going to a restaurant, maybe we're going to cook tonight, or maybe instead of doing sports this summer, we're going to think about a different type of summer camp. Those are alternatives, and it's helpful to think through them. As soon as we start thinking through them and taking the smallest step, it really starts to progress, and the world opens up to us, because all of a sudden we see additional opportunities that we could pursue. And we start the momentum on that, and then we don't feel beholden to a single deal in front of us. And again, no deal is better than a bad deal. And having an alternative in your pocket makes you show up with confidence and makes it so you don't just say yes. Try it out, run that exercise, and go check out my book. It's really exciting to see that it's now on sale instead of pre-order. And if you found this content valuable over the last 7 weeks, then I think that you'd probably find a lot of value in the book too. Thanks so much. 7 weeks ago, we started this series, and the book is out now. And today is our last day. First, I want to thank you so much for sticking with me throughout this journey. And I am really excited about what we've been able to accomplish together. We've been doing this for 7 weeks, and we've gone through the framework of Never Settle, the book that is so excitingly out now. We covered how to manage our emotions and understand our interests, building relationships with others for having a better framing and better future of making an ask and people being receptive to it, understanding and having empathy for their interests, bringing data to the conversation, generating lots of options to expand the pie, finding alternatives, and being able to say no. And ultimately, we have encapsulated in the last 7 weeks in short form what my book covers, but the book goes into so much more. It goes into more exercises and more detail around each framework. It gives you stories that really resonate about how this might show up in your life, personally and professionally. And it's a resource that you can have to continue to reference back to whenever you want to try a new skill or improve. And my goal over the last 7 weeks, and my goal with the book, Never Settle, has always been to get you more time, money, more energy, and more resources, because you deserve to have that. And most of the time, it's just asking. And yeah, there are ways to ask, which is what I want to give you. But I want you to feel good about going in and making that ask, because all it's going to do is improve your life. It's going to give you all of those time, money, energy, resources to put into other places, because negotiation is the highest return on investment skill development that you can make, because it gives you all those resources to apply elsewhere. You will be happier and healthier mentally. Other people will be happier and healthier mentally. You will have better relationships, and you will just have more out of each conversation, each deal, each moment of influence, which is happening dozens of times per day. So thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for being so gracious and kind. It was frankly really hard for me to do this and put myself out there and share content with you, and everybody has just been so generous and encouraging, so thank you for that. I hope you have found it valuable. I hope you go and pick up the book and continue to grow in these skills and learn, and I'm sure you'll be hearing from me again, but this is a wrap for 7 weeks of Never Settle.